successful at homeschooling and life. And I'm really excited today to talk about how we can help the kids be more successful at home that corresponds to the life. And we're going to be talking about a chore system. And I know coming up, I had some friends whose parents didn't have them do chores. And as they became adults, they weren't able to keep their own house either, because it's not something they learned as young. So I have a special guest with me today, Miss Ashley. And Miss Ashley, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, I have been a mom now for 17 years, and I have 10 kids. We have kids bursting out of the seams here, but we've been, in a really good chore system now for probably about 4 or 5 years. And it's really great because at this point it's automatic. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Everybody gets their jobs done. And, like you said, this is a life skill. So it's really important to me that my kids are leaving my home one day prepared to run their own home one day, because, that's what parenting really is all about, is teaching your kids life skills.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because you don't know our martial arts school. We connected because I'm a client of yours, if you will. I've purchased some of the coaching programs that you offer for the kids' chore system. I'm a dad myself, but at our martial arts school, we pride ourselves on teaching life skills to the kids as well. Sure, we want them to be able to punch and kick, but we want to use those to teach life skills.
Yes.
And that's what made me think this would be a great option to talk about. Now, as far as I mentioned, I'm a client of yours. Not everybody's familiar with what you do as far as a business is concerned. Tell us a little bit about how you help folks learn how to install this.
Sure. So I have the Smart Kids Chore System, and it is based on what I have developed through years and years and years of trial and error, trying to figure out exactly, because I knew that it was possible. I knew it was possible to get your kids doing chores, right? Because that's the way it used to be 100 years ago, right? Everybody pitched in, but actually arriving at how do we actually get that done? How do we make it happen? So I was like, I'm going to make this work no matter what. I'm going to figure this out. So trial and error, years and years and years of, just doing an experiment basically in my home. How can we make this work? How can we do it without me being a dictator? I want the kids to start taking personal responsibility and ownership of what they're doing, and not just like fight this every step of the way. How can I use this to, create a better relationship with my kids? How can I use this to make sure that they're going on to be more productive adults one day? So, it's really been years and years and years. And because the great thing about having so many children is that I feel like I've literally encountered every different personality type. I have introverts, I have extroverts, I have really sensitive kids, I have really defiant kids, I have stubborn kids, I have super smart kids, I have perfectionists. So the great thing about, the way I've done this program is I really try to address each individual type of personality that someone may encounter. There may be one outlier personality that I haven't addressed, but I feel like I have a pretty good basis for covering every type of kid and every type of resistance someone may encounter.
Yeah, you have a wealth of experience that most don't. Absolutely. So there must have become a time in your life, obviously, where you decided to make this more systematic at home yourself. There was the before, and then there's where you are now. Obviously, there was a journey through there, but what really kicked that journey off? What was if you can remember, what was the incident that said, okay, things have to change?
Well, I only had 6 children at the time, and the house was chaos. I have run my own business from home for 8 years now. And I homeschool my kids. So I was, basically trying to wear every single hat myself, doing everything, all of the cooking, all of the cleaning, all of the homeschooling, running my business. And it just got to the point where I realized the state of the home, because I work from home, the state of my home is affecting all of us. There's got to be a way that we can have a systematic home that contributes to the well-being of all of us. Because, if you're sitting in a messy environment, you're not going to do your best. And so I knew, I'm not doing my best in my business. My kids aren't doing their best at homeschool, and just, family relationships. You can't really have a cohesive family unit if your environment is chaos. So looking around, I realized we have got to make this change. We've got to figure out how to make this work, because we're all in a state of chaos right now. And it's because of our environment. So if we can change the environment, changing everything else will, it'll fall into place automatically. So that was kind of the turning point when I had my 6th little baby and I looked around and I realized this environment is chaos and it's contributing to emotional chaos, familial chaos. Everything is chaos right now. So that was kind of the tipping point for me.
Yes, ma'am. And we're on this call right now because a lot of folks, are at home. They've gone from an environment that it's a new environment for a lot of folks. I don't know if it's chaotic, but it's a lot different. Right?
Yes.
Where we are right now in our part of the country. We're in North Carolina. Most of our schools, at least in my local area, shut down. Kids are at home. Businesses are shut down due to the circumstances. So folks are getting thrown together.
Yes.
When we had 2 days notice that our son was going to be home for an indefinite amount of time. He was supposed to be off on Monday, and then Friday, he was off on Monday for standard calendar. And it's like, well, that Monday he has off is going to be extended for some indefinite amount of time. So awesome. Now, 1 second, ma'am. Let's double check. So we're going live. I'm going to try to also answer questions on my phone for anybody who may have questions for us live if we can. But I want to get into our first question while I do this. We are, I'm going to ask you if someone is interested in getting their kid to do chores at home, maybe have one or multiple kids, how much time per day are we spending on the chores? Is it where we drop everything for 3 hours and get everything done? Is it done throughout the day in small pieces? What's your recipe for success?
So the first thing that everybody needs to really embrace, because otherwise nothing else that I teach really works, is the concept that the family is a team.
Okay.
The word family means team. So we are all in this together. This is our home. It's not one person's job. This is our job. So once you really can embrace that concept, we're a family, we're a team, we're doing this together, then the best place that I have found to start is with what I like to call the 5-minute family cleanup. And you literally pull out a timer and you set it for 5 minutes and you say, okay, we are going to work together. I know that this isn't any one person's mess. It may not be your mess, but it's our mess. And so you go in one room, the room that you want to work on first, your family room, your dining room, kitchen, whatever. You set the timer for 5 minutes and you say, okay, I want everybody to give me everything you've got. Give me your all. When the timer goes off, we are done. We're going to walk away, but let's see exactly what we can accomplish in 5 minutes. Put on some motivational music, make it fun. Don't make it awful. We're trying to, create a habit here. So do what you can to make it positive. You can even offer a reward at the end. When we're all done with this, I'll pass out 3 chocolate chips or 5 or whatever, just something little, a little teeny motivation. Put the music on, set the timer for 5 minutes and just go at it. And you're doing it too. You're leading by example. And so the thing that is really powerful is, number one, it's 5 minutes. It's a timer. It's not an open-ended, we're going to clean this house. It's a very definite, 5 minutes goes by so fast. And so your kids are going to feel a little bit better about the fact that, okay, there's a time limit here. And they're going to, feel better that everybody's doing it together. The music's on. So that helps to cut off any attitude that you might normally encounter by, suggesting an open-ended cleaning, whatever. So all of you are working together in one space for 5 minutes, and you will be amazed at how much you can actually accomplish, because 5 minutes, it's really not a lot of time, and it doesn't seem like a lot of time. But if you're all working together as a team, it's amazing how much can actually be accomplished. So you get that 5 minutes under your belt, okay? Your kids see what an amazing job was done. You praise them. I'm really proud of the way that you worked hard here. You really did a great job. You're a great leader, blah, 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 blah. So then, if you have another room of the house, a couple hours later, call another 5-minute family cleanup. You can do this systematically through your home. If you're just starting out and you really don't have any sort of chores going on in the home, like if you've been doing it all yourself forever, then, I wouldn't overdo it at first. Do 2 or 3 5-minute family cleanups a day and just see where you are. I like to try and, do things around meal times, like after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner. And since we're all at home, we all are there for those meals now. So I really feel like that's a great way to do it, to kind of anchor it to something that's already happening in your day. But, that's a great place to start because nobody's singled out. You're all doing it together. You're keeping it positive. It has a definite time limit. It's, a manageable piece of time, but you really will be amazed at how much can be accomplished in 5 minutes of focused effort.
Well, you said a couple things there that makes total sense to me personally. You know, as a martial arts instructor, there's certain things that we do in our school to make sure we keep the kids on track. We focus primarily on kids' martial arts. You mentioned challenge. Kids love challenges, right? Rewards. We say in our school, what gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you want good behavior, you have to reward that behavior, right? And then what we call verbalizing expectations. You're doing it by saying, we're going to do this for 5 minutes, right? That's a verbalized expectation. Because if you don't verbalize expectations to folks, if they don't, meet your expectations, it's your fault because you didn't tell them what the expectations were.
Exactly.
Right? So if you just say, hey, we're going to clean, well, what does that mean? That could mean 5 minutes. That could mean 5 hours.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
that's a great tip. Now, the how much per day, that's important. And then you actually covered off on something else. I was going to ask, what's the easiest way to get this started? And I think that 5 minute piece is really important, starting off that way. Now, I have a question though. What if we run into our one child or multiple kids, or the one who, wants to be the Starbuck of the crew, wants to push back, right? How do we handle that? Because you went, I was thinking, I bought your product because, I did chores coming up. I don't recall how my mom and dad got me to start doing the chores. I think it was probably more by iron hand than anything else because it was, the 80s in Philadelphia.
Right.
Not to say that mom and dad were wrong or anything, but how do we deal with avoiding conflict if that may be a concern for some parents?
Well, it's really important, like we said, set those expectations up, make it a team effort. I have a few of those children that are, nice and stubborn, natural born leaders. And basically what I like to suggest is that you kind of channel your parents. If you had parents that were, I like to call it old school, think about how they would handle it. And then do it similarly in a way that it's not negotiable. This is what we are doing. I am your leader. I am your parent. This is what we're doing. And then be willing to stick with that commitment, because children, they're so smart. They can tell if you're not feeling confident in what you're asking them to do. Like they can smell it. They can smell fear. And so you've got to be really confident in what you're asking them, and make sure you reiterate too, I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. Let's do it together. But if you stay calm, if you stay resolute, and then if you need to, which if you have one of these natural born leaders, you probably will, use consequences. It's not the end of the world. As long as you're willing to follow through, don't make a threat you're not willing to follow through on. If you are not willing to give me 5 minutes of your best work, then I'm going to have to take away your device. You'll probably have to do it. They probably will call your bluff. If you've got one of these kids, that's what they're going to do. So just be ready. Okay, I'm going to take the device now. But after it happens for a few times, they'll realize, oh, mom actually does mean business. And I don't ever start a fight I'm not willing to win. And so that's kind of the attitude you have to take with, the most stubborn of the stubborn. Don't start something you're not willing to win, but you can still be kind. You don't need to lose your temper about it. Just be resolute, be old school about it. Like, I'm the parent, I make the rules. This is the way it's going to be. I would love to have you just participate without having to lose anything. Like, this is something we're doing for our family. But if you're going to push me, I'll push back. And, just be willing to win the fight.
That's an awesome way to state it. Don't start a fight that you're not willing to win.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the last question would be, and I guess a little preamble is, me as a martial artist, I learned martial arts from other people. And running my own business, I like to find those that are doing, who are where I want to be, and learning from them how to get there, right? The way that you're running your household, that's what attracted me to doing some business with you. Was I saw the way that you were doing things, and I wanted to get there as well. Why should I suffer through all the trial and error that you've already done when I could just learn from you? So if somebody is out there and they want to learn more about your system, what should they do?
Well, so I have the Smart Kids Chore system. You can go to smartkidschores.com and pick it up. We have a lot of tools. We have a pretty active Facebook group, with a lot of people in there. That it's wonderful. I encourage people to go in there if you're stuck somewhere. Like if you need a hack, like I need to figure out how to do this faster, better, whatever. It's a really great community. It's a system that keeps on growing because I told everybody, I said, if there's something I'm not covering, let me know so that I can film a video for you. So it's grown. It's probably doubled in size from what I originally intended. But it's a great system. It has a ton of different worksheets and charts. There's an online component. If your children like to do things digitally, we have, ways to check off chores online. We have worksheets for moms who like paper, dads who like paper. But it takes out the trial and error. It's the fastest way from point A to point B. And it's as painless as possible too. That's the whole thing, because I really try to focus on, this is a habit we want to build for our children. This is something that we want them not only to be able to clean their own homes, but one day to parent their own children in the same way, so that they're not the only ones that are doing the housework. I want my daughters to grow up and realize that motherhood isn't the equivalent of slavery, right? Yeah. And I want for my sons to grow up and be supportive, husbands and fathers, and to just be able to do this because this is what was modeled to them. So it's a bigger vision than just, hey, let's keep the house clean while we're all quarantined. Look at it as, this is the big picture here. This is how we want to grow up and then raise our children one day, so we're not struggling, and get to the point where we're completely overwhelmed. That's a win. That's a huge win. That's a gift to give your children. So, that's how I like to look at it, instead of just focusing on, well, I'd like a cleaner house. Well, I'd like to change the next generation and how they raise their children.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, again, there's so many things that you and I align on just based on this conversation we're having. What the things that we teach the kids, our life skills, discipline, respect, passion, self-esteem. These all tie into maintaining a tidy house is a form of discipline. Doing what you should always, right? Showing respect for yourself.
Yes.
Right. And being respectful of other people, because most of us, if we have kids, we don't live alone, right? So we have to be respectful of other people's time and their space too. So, and again, it's smartkidschoorsystem.com if people want to learn more, correct?
Smartkidschores.com. Yeah.
Outstanding. Smartkidschores.com. Outstanding. Well, thank you, ma'am. You have a great weekend, and we'll see our audience again soon.
Yes. Thank you.